Hi, and welcome to this video of Dynamics 365 Talk, where I will be discussing the integration between LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Dynamics 365. Last week, I recorded a video on the technical side of things, how to set some of these things up, but this week I'll be focusing on how to actually use the application. Now, before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Dion Taylor, and I am a Microsoft Business Applications MVP. Feel free to check out my blog at D365goddess.com, follow me on Twitter at D365goddess, or connect with me on LinkedIn by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen. Now, the agenda for today is as follows. I'm going to show you how you can actually add the LinkedIn widget to a Dynamics 365 form. Then we'll talk about the Sales Navigator tab that you will see on some of the out-of-the-box forms, such as lead, contact, and account and opportunity. And we'll talk about the three different sections on that tab, which is the member profile, the account profile, and the in-mail section. Then I'll show you some of the functionality from within the account org chart. And we will show you the Sales Navigator mobile app as well and some of the functionality that comes with that. So I'm going to go ahead and open this contact record, and this is the widget that I'm going to configure. You can see here that I have access to profile. I can click on Icebreakers, and there are some more related leads and getting introduced from here as well. So let me show you how you can configure that. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my solution file here. I'm going to configure this on the lead form. So I'm just going to go to forms, and I'm going to put this on my main lead form. So let me just go ahead and open that up here. Okay, so this is the lead form. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to add that control to the last name field. So you could either drag the last name field on here again, or you can just use the last name field that's already on there. I'm going to go to controls, and I'm going to add a control, and I'm going to look. Let's see here. LinkedIn, here we go. The LinkedIn Sales Navigator lead member profile. So if you put this on the contact card, it's exactly the same control. I'm just going to go ahead and click add. And this is where you configure what you want to show. Do I want to show news, those icebreakers? If I don't want to show that on here, I just set this to no, right? But I'm going to just leave this on here. You can see here that I have some abilities here to also bind some of these values as well. And then I can just click OK. And you know what? The other thing I want to do is I do not want to display this last name, the label on that field. And then we can just go ahead and save and publish. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, then we can just go ahead and get out of there. And let's take a look now on our lead form. And here we go. Now we have that widget perfectly here on our lead form. Okay, so let's now actually navigate to Angel, one of my contact records, Angel. And this is really what I was talking about, the LinkedIn Sales Navigator tab that's being added when this integration is enabled here in Dynamics 365 CE. So you can see here that we have different sections. We have here the LinkedIn member profile, we have the LinkedIn account profile, and we have LinkedIn InMail. Now, what I said earlier was that this particular tab is also added to the lead default form, account, and opportunities as well. And obviously, when we're in the contact or the lead record, this LinkedIn member profile is the actual contact record in your CE system. If you're looking at opportunities, let's actually go ahead and do that. Let's see if we have one here. Let me go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Again, we can see the member profile, the account profile, and the LinkedIn email. Right now, what it's doing is the LinkedIn member profile is actually looking at the contact lookup, whoever is populated in there, and the accounts, right? Again, the LinkedIn account profile is whatever is populated in this account field. So that's kind of how that works. I'm going to go back to Angel here. So automatically the system will already match the profile of the person in LinkedIn, that LinkedIn member profile, with whoever this contact is. And if you review the previous video, you can see that there are several fields that the system actually looks at to make that match. Now, if the match is not correct, you can also say here, not the right person, and that will actually take you back here to this search window where now you can put in some information here. You can search for that person, and then you can do a manual match directly from within here. If I want to view this person in Sales Navigator, I can just go ahead and click this particular button. And here you can see in Sales Navigator the information for Angel. Now, it's very interesting. If you're in Sales Navigator, you can see here that this profile is actually linked with a record in Dynamics 365. So if I click on here, that will take me right back to my Dynamics 365 record. We also see here that there's some contact information in here, right? Angel might have put his phone number in there and his email address and some other information, but we can also find additional information from Dynamics 365 in here because both of them are linked together. Now, in this particular case, you can see that that's actually the same email address, so that's correct. And we can also see here that we have contact information in regards to phone directly from within here as well. If I wanted to add some information like different addresses, a website, or additional email addresses, etc., we can do that directly from within here as well. So you can really see that I can go back and forth between Sales Navigator and Dynamics 365 as well. Now let's go back to Dynamics 365. So the profile, obviously you can see here some related information, right? Who is Angel? He is the purchasing manager. Where is he located? Some connections. The total connections that he has is 9, and we have 4 shared connections. Right? Just some general information here. The Icebreakers tabs shows some different types of information that we can use as that conversation starter, like the connections that you have in common with this particular person. I am obviously logged in as myself in Sales Navigator, so it's showing me these 4 folks that we actually have in common. I can also go ahead and click here on this little arrow, and then we can see other things that we have in common. So I can see here that we actually both worked at RSM. And if I click a little bit further, I can also see that we are both members of 3 groups together. And then below here, we can see some activity with Angel's account. So I can see here that he actually shared an article on LinkedIn 3 days ago. And if I click a little bit further, there's nothing else to see here. But when I click on View All Activity, that will take me back to Sales Navigator, where I can see all of Angel's activity within LinkedIn. If I click on this More tab, I have some additional information available that I can use here. The Get Introduced tab, for example. This shows user connections that I have, or this shows connections that I have in common with Angel. And from this page, we can also see what these 4 connections actually have in common with the LinkedIn member, Angel. So for example, if they're both members of groups or if there's mutual work history. So for example, if I click here on Rachel, we can see that both Rachel and Angel actually worked at RSM. And if I click here on Victor's profile, if I hover my mouse on Victor's profile, we can see here that they're in 3 mutual groups together. And we can see here also that Angel and Igor are currently in 2 mutual groups. Now, if I wanted to get an introduction, all I have to do here is just click on the Ask for Introduction, and that will go immediately to my LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And you can see here that I already have Igor's contact information in here. So I can just start typing my message, and then I can just go ahead and send that message to Igor. And then lastly, we have the related lead section here. Now, I believe that this section shows related LinkedIn members that work at the same company as the contact that you're viewing currently, right? So the same as, so other people that work at the same company that Angel is currently working for. So that's the member profile. Now let's take a look at the LinkedIn account profile. You can see here if I click on profile, it gives me some generic information in regards to the account that Angel is related to. So I can see here the industry, I can see the range of employees, and then if I want to view all of the employees on LinkedIn, a list of all of those people that work for RSM, I can do that directly from within here as well. When I click on connections, this really shows me the first degree connections that I have at this particular account, right? It also shows me my team link connections. And team link is a sales navigator feature that you can turn on or off. And it allows users to view and search their team's connections as well. So you can also see who on your team is connected to your leads and contacts, and then you can ask for an introduction. And then obviously, likewise, the team can view and search your connections, obviously, as well. So again, I can kind of click through this, and you can see here I can immediately message them from here as well. I can take a look at the team link connections that I have. I have 446, so I can go ahead and click on that. And if I click on this view team link, that brings me again back to Sales Navigator, which again shows me in here the common connections that we have, that we share. Then underneath that, I can see all of my second degree connections. So I have 3,700 and change secondary connections. And again, I can just click through that and then view their profile, obviously, from here as well. So again, when I click on more, I can click on recommended leads. And this shows LinkedIn profiles of folks who work at the same company or account. If I have in LinkedIn, if I have some sales preferences set up there, this is where those recommendations come from for those recommended leads. And then we have one more option, which is the news section over here. And this really shows the account's activity on LinkedIn. So I can see when an account shared an update on LinkedIn, or even when it was mentioned in the news as well. So I can see here, right, so the newest updates are going to be first 1 hour ago, 1 day ago, and then 5 hours ago, 2 days ago, right? So you can kind of see all of those updates. And again, if you want to see all of the activity, you can just go ahead and click in that, and that just takes you directly to the Sales Navigator, where now I can see all of that information. Then we have one more pane left here, and that is the LinkedIn InMail pane, right? So what I can do from here is I can go ahead and I can send an InMail or message to Angel through Sales Navigator directly from within my Dynamics 365 instance. So I can just go ahead and say, hey, and what you see on the bottom here is an option for me to copy this message to my CRM system, in this particular case, Dynamics 365. And if I do that, it will create an activity in Dynamics 365 for this particular message that I'm sending. So I'm just going to go ahead and send that. And you can see here the preview of that as well. If I want to see that full conversation that I had with him, again, I can just go ahead and click on that. And that again will open Sales Navigator, and it's going to show me here all of that, all of the full conversation I had with him. Now, again, I can also send this message through here and then just go ahead and check that box to copy that message to my CRM system from here. Now let's take a look in Dynamics 365 to make sure that that activity was actually created. Let me just refresh my screen. And here it is. So you can see here that it's going to show up as a message from Sales Navigator in this particular case because I'm already connected to him. And then you can see here that now if you give other people also access to read those activities, then other people can see that we were actually communicating through Sales Navigator. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that you can actually also use some of this functionality in the org chart. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up an account record from which I can access the org chart. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. Now, you can see that most of these guys actually have profile pictures because you can actually configure this to update the profile pictures in Dynamics 365 with the LinkedIn profile picture, so that when they change that, that can be updated as well. Now, the other thing that you see here is this red dot here on Angel's picture. Now, if I just double click on that, I can actually access that record and the LinkedIn information from here. You can see here that it's actually asking me, is this contact still with this organization? If not, then you might want to remove the link between this contact and the org to keep the chart up to date. So what I can do from here is I can see that he actually belongs to Datum SA. So I can actually search for that account if I had it in here, SA, which I currently don't have, so I'll probably want to create an account from here by clicking this new record, and then I can update that contact. If you viewed the video that I did last week, then you saw that on the contact record, there is actually a field that is being added that is a not at company flag. That check, if you have that enabled, that actually checks whether or not a particular person, a matched profile, is actually still at the same company that you have it in your Dynamics 365 system. And if that is not the case, then you will be able to see this little red dot here, and you will also see that that field is actually set to show that this person is no longer at that company. So that's why we're seeing that dot. If we don't see that dot, I can just go ahead and pull him up. I don't have this. You can see here, I don't really have a lot of information on him because I don't believe he's matched in there. So you can see that there is some information here that if this was a matched profile, that we can review that LinkedIn information directly from within here as well. Now I can click here on Sales Navigator, and that is going to start that match. So he found somebody. You can obviously see that's not the same person, but this is kind of what that's doing. And if I again say this is not the right person, I can again get the same functionality that I get earlier as well. So I can go ahead and search. Nobody there, so I'm just going to go ahead and close out of that. And just to show you, I actually put that field not at company flag right over here. And these are the options that are available. No feedback, not at company, or ignore. So again, right, that check runs every 24 hours. And if the information is not correct, the system will synchronize that over to say not at company. And that's why we saw that little red dot earlier. Now, the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, let me just close out of this, is the Sales Navigator mobile application. So I just downloaded that to my phone and then I signed in, obviously. And I just wanted to show you some of the things that you can do here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go to Angel's Record. Again, we're going to be able to see that that person is in my CRM system. But you also see here that I have this section here that says contact. So I can click on that and it's showing me information because I matched this person with a record in CRM. It's showing me not just information from LinkedIn, but also information from Dynamics 365. You can see here, it says here the phone number in Dynamics 365 and the phone number in LinkedIn, and also email addresses. And I can even add some contact information in here as well if I had him in my phone. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on contact again. So now what I can do is I can actually make a phone call. So let's just go ahead and do that. It's going to ask me if I want to make that call. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And this is obviously a fake number, so it's not going to be able, it's not going to complete that call. So I'm just going to go ahead and hang up here. And now it's asking me if I want to log this call. So I'm just going to say yes. And I can put my notes here, or I can just go ahead and do voice to text. We had a great call. Follow up next week. Okay, and then you see that little button there that says above log call, right? I can set, this is set to yes, and I can set it to no. That's again really whether or not we want to save this record in Dynamics 365 as well. So I'm just going to leave it here because I do want to track that in Dynamics 365 as well. And then I'm going to click the log call button. So now let's go back to Dynamics 365 and let's actually open up an advanced find window. Move that down here a little bit. And let's just do activities and activities that were created today. And let's see. So here we go. This is the message earlier that I created in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And then here we have our phone call that was created as well. And if I refresh this, we should see this. Here we go. There is that phone call that I just created in the mobile app and that is now available on my contact record. So you got to make sure that it has to actually find that contact in Dynamics 365. I had other times that it didn't find it and it just created that activity and there was no regarding. So you got to kind of, you know, keep note of that as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button. Be sure to check back again next week for a new video. Stay safe, everybody, and don't forget to wash your hands. Have a great day. Bye-bye.